Well, we are continuing to follow breaking news on the pitch where the U.S. men's national team has reportedly found their guy, and that guy is Mauricio Pochettino. The Americans have been looking for a new manager since firing Greg Berhalter, who, of course, led the team in that disastrous Copa America appearance earlier this summer. Poch reportedly was the top target in the hunt for U.S. soccer sporting director Matt Crocker, who worked with Poch back at Southampton a few years back. So here's what you need to know about Poch. Of course, he's seen success at the club level in Europe, winning a Ligue 1 title with PSG, and of course taking Tottenham to a Champions League final back in 2019. He joins the U.S. after guiding a struggling Chelsea squad to a sixth-place finish in the Prem last season, and of course a spot in European competition. Crocker did say that they would spare no expense when it came to bringing in the right guy, saying, quote, "It is a priority." Let's continue our conversation as we bring in our friend at the Golazo Network, Nico Canter, to discuss. All right, Nico, we wanted Klopp, but we get Poch instead. What do you think of the fit here?
Yeah, it's a great fit. Look, we wanted Klopp, we wanted Guardiola, we wanted the best managers in the world, and that elite tier of managers is pretty thin. And we got a name that is attractive because he's a coach that's managed at the highest level in Europe, got to a Champions League final, and he checks a lot of boxes, really. He has worked with youth players and built them and developed them. He has coached elite players. At PSG, he had Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe on the same team. So this is a modern coach, a guy that probably has the vision to take the United States forward into their development as a whole, as a men's national team.
Taking a look here at his career resume, of course, I mentioned the championship he won with PSG, the final with Tottenham in the Champions League, as well as being a four-time Premier League Manager of the Month. Those are, Nico, not stats that you glaze over easily here because it's clear that he has been successful. But taking that and applying it now to a U.S. soccer squad that was disappointing this summer, to say the least, has been disappointing in the past, what do you think is Poch's biggest challenge as he takes over Team USA?
It's getting the most out of his players, right? The player pool might not be the strongest ever, although a lot of guys are playing in Europe, but the impact that they're making on the national team isn't unbelievable. They crashed out of the Copa America. They didn't play well. They didn't play to the best of their abilities. And frankly, on the biggest international stages, like at a World Cup, this group feels like it's fallen short of their potential. And that's probably Pochettino's main task, which is get the most out of these players. Look, he's not one of the more obsessive methodological coaches that's going to be week in, week out on a club team obsessing about the style of play, the passing patterns, and all of this stuff. We kind of got that a little bit with Berhalter in the national team setup. But at the national team setup, you don't have too much time to work with these group of guys. So that's the challenge. And one of Pochettino's strengths is relationship building and relationship strengthening. If he can understand Pulisic to the utmost degree, Weah to the utmost degree, Gio Reyna to the utmost degree, and a lot of these guys that have been pillars of this national team for the last 8, 6, 7 years or so, he can really unlock a lot with this national team, especially going into the 2026 World Cup that we're going to host as a country. There's a high expectation about performance in this group, and the ultimate goal is to rally up support, excite people about this sport, and that can all stem the genesis of a lot of football stories in this country, a lot of soccer stories in this country can stem from the United States having a strong World Cup in 2026.
We just saw Emma Hayes take over Team USA on the women's side and win gold over in Paris. So, you know, while there's not Olympics to be concerned about right now, that World Cup is going to be huge for Poch and for Team USA. Nico, before I let you go, I want to ask you here, because you talked about building the relationship and getting the most out of the guys like Christian Pulisic and some of those other big name stars. But for the fans of U.S. soccer who have sort of had these expectations, we've seen what this team looks like with guys like Greg Berhalter, Jurgen Klinsmann, even if we go back a few years ago. And all of those guys have not met the expectations that fans want. So for Poch, why should U.S. soccer fans be confident that he will be different from some of those other big names that we've seen lead this team?
Yeah, so this group of players, save for Pulisic, didn't play under any other manager that was Berhalter, right? I'm not talking about interim manager. I'm talking about main managers, because after Klinsmann came Bruce Arena, and Pulisic was involved there, and then Berhalter really started the post non-qualification to 2018 era and the rebuild of the quote-unquote golden generation. And their ceiling is very high, and with a round of 16 exit at the World Cup, it felt like they came up short. And again, this is what Poch is here to do. And a lot of these guys who are playing in Europe, maybe they're not the main guys. How do you make them main guys on the national team? There's a lot of question marks surrounding a lot of big name players on this national team at the moment. Weston McKennie, he's seemingly being pushed out the door at Juventus, which is a perennial winner almost, and in Italy, right? And then you have Gio Reyna, who's at Dortmund, back from loan, where he was at Nottingham Forest, at Dortmund, his parent club, where he really doesn't get playing time. So what does his future look like? Pochettino's going to have to find the right components, put it all together to get the most out of this team and fulfill these extraordinary expectations building up to the World Cup in 2026.
They are high expectations, but I got to be honest, Nico, I am excited about this hire. I'm excited to see what his influence on this team will look like come 2026. We will, of course, continue to follow it. Nico, thanks for hopping on with us here at HQ. Listen, our partners at the Golazo Network are going to be on this all day long today. It is streaming 24/7 for free, so make sure you head over to the Paramount Plus app. Check us out on the CBS Sports app as well for the Golazo Network, streaming 24/7.